At this time, Israel is immersed in intense preparation to face the situation, especially after Netanyahu's statements, who stressed that once the conflict in Gaza is over, everything will be significantly different. The Israeli government has been making tireless efforts in this process. The Israeli Ministry of Defense is in full preparation to face the second month of the war. All Ministry of Defense employees and staff have been mobilized, working day and night to ensure that the needs of people evacuated from communities near Gaza and in the north during the conflict are met. Their work ranges from repairing border areas to acquiring defense equipment and shelters, as well as providing additional ammunition supplies. The Ministry of Defense has assumed a wide range of responsibilities in this process. More than 3,000 tons of military equipment are reported to have been transported to Israel, using both cargo planes, which carried out 100 flights, and ships, 5 in total, which transported equipment, ceramic plates for soldiers, and other essential systems. The overall objective of the Ministry of Defense is to ensure the uninterrupted operation of Israel's defense and security forces, as well as supporting the civil war effort on the home front. The priority is focused on the acquisition of resources from Israeli industries to meet these objectives. In the midst of this intense preparation, Israel has dealt a severe blow to Hamas, and the events of that attack are detailed below. The Israel Defense Forces reported that its troops engaged in close combat with Hamas fighters, who carried out surprise attacks and quickly retreated through tunnels. Additionally, 4 schools used as shelters were reported to have been damaged in less than 24 hours, according to the United Nations, while warning of worsening water shortages. The Ministry of Health under the control of Hamas claimed that more than 9,000 Palestinians have lost their lives, although Israel does not trust the data published by this organization. According to a report, at least 20 people died in a school in the Jabalia refugee camp, and 1 minor lost his life in a shelter set up as a school in the refugee camp on the beach. These grim reports have been confirmed by the media. Shocking graphic video from a primary school in the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza shows events both outside the school's main gate and in the main courtyard, where more than 20 people can be seen dead or injured on the floor. A second video, filmed in the main courtyard of a primary school located in the refugee camp in northern Gaza near the Mediterranean coast, has triggered a wave of media outrage. This video showcased the atrocities that took place there, with clear evidence of the events. Hamas authorities in Gaza blamed Israeli airstrikes for these tragic events. So far, the Israel Defense Forces have not commented on the matter, as is their usual practice. United Nations appointed experts have emphasized that time is running out for the Palestinian population in Gaza, and that they face a significant risk of genocide. The United Nations has called for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. The situation in Gaza has reached a critical and catastrophic point. The ban on fuel entry into Gaza and the interruption of water supplies mean that the population has extremely limited access to drinking water. It is a human tragedy of devastating proportions that is occurring in the 21st century, given that water is vital for human life. Currently, 2 million Gazans struggle to find clean water. Israel's mission to the United Nations in Geneva has blamed Hamas for all the deaths. Additionally, yesterday, the Israel Defense Forces announced that they had killed around 130 Hamas fighters. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that soldiers are bravely delivering in this war, highlighting the impressive achievements and advance of Israeli forces on the outskirts of Gaza City. A considerable number of foreign citizens managed to leave Gaza after the opening of the Rafah border crossing with Egypt for the second consecutive day. President Biden reported that more than 70 Americans were among them. But the charity Doctors Without Borders said more than 20,000 injured people remain trapped in the territory. In parallel, the Hezbollah movement in Lebanon announced that it was carrying out attacks against 19 targets in Israel, in what it described as its most intense offensive to date. In response, the Israeli army carried out attacks on several Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. These events take place a day before a long-awaited speech by Hezbollah leader Nasrallah. On the other hand, it is important to note that Israel is home to a wide range of defense companies, in addition to its 3 main defense conglomerates, such as Rafael and Elbit Systems, among others. This military-industrial complex plays a significant role in the country's defensive capabilities, providing technology, weapons, and equipment. Additionally, Israel resorts to purchasing goods such as agricultural products and uniforms from local companies, adding up to billions of shekels in expenses. During the current conflict, the United States has expressed its intention to offer financial support and assistance to Israel, with a figure estimated at around $10 billion. So far, Israel's defense ministry has allocated a budget of 3 billion new Israeli shekels, allocating funds to support 651 factories and 57,000 employees. This financing has allowed the purchase of 8,500 vehicles, including 4,000 buses, 2,000 trucks, and various types of mobile vehicles. Additionally, construction and repair projects have been undertaken in border communities, particularly in areas affected by the Nevers assaults near Gaza. Efforts have also been made to provide defense shelters and other necessary spaces. In this context, the Ministry of Defense is also organizing preparations to commemorate the fallen martyrs. During the conflict, a total of 394 members of the security forces lost their lives, including 58 police officers and members of the Shin Bet, with October 7th being a particularly tragic day. Many of these brave men were wounded in combat, and considerable effort was required to carry out their funerals. The magnitude of the tragedy is such that the martyrs have been buried in 146 different cemeteries. Additionally, 712 members of the Israel Defense Forces have been officially classified as disabled due to injuries sustained during the clashes that took place on October 7th. Thousands of people were injured in the first days of fighting. And while many patients have been discharged from hospital, a large number of them remain hospitalized with critical injuries. These figures highlight the high human cost of this conflict. Additionally, it is estimated that around 125,000 people who were forced to leave their homes in around 100 locations, such as the cities of Sderot and Kiryat Shmona, are currently taking refuge in 359 hotels and guest houses. Israel has emphasized the overall purpose of this conflict and its ultimate goal of achieving victory. However, the current task of preparing the economy for possible total war scenarios is a monumental effort. On a positive note, Israel has a considerable military industry and the ability to adapt to this situation, the result of decades of joint work between the Zionist movement and the state. According to officials, the Ministry of Defense operates 24 hours a day and is investing in specialized military systems. This involves the use of cutting-edge technology and resources based on artificial intelligence. Additionally, Israel is acquiring additional counter-drone devices and has initiated investments in unmanned systems, including drones, robots, and various technologies that may be useful, such as creating drones in swarms and using artificial intelligence. These actions reflect the diversity of the nation's capabilities and its ability to adapt to a defense-focused economy. However, various obstacles must be overcome in the event of a protracted conflict, including the mobilization of reservists and the evacuation of populations from border areas. Furthermore, any strategy will be challenged once there is contact with the adversary, since Israel does not maintain communication with its counterpart. Furthermore, strategies that are based on technological advances require time to master. We are grateful that you take these aspects into account.